We had a really good party, basically welcomed us back, and this is after this is before Dulles even happened. So, but like we had, who did we have? We had Joan Jett. Joan Jett was
Joan
there.
Jett.
Yeah,
All
it
right.
was awesome.
Joan Jett. Why not?
It was a. I mean, I still have pictures. I actually, yeah, I was sharing a couple of those pictures with a couple of friends that, or a couple of the guys that were out there with us, and it's just, man, it was a blur. But like, I mean, don't get me wrong. Uh, when we got back to the base, it was great. I mean, my parents knew I was coming back. Actually, funny enough, the day that I actually got back was the day was my dad's birthday. Actually,
Wow.
so February 20th. We left obviously February 19th, and when we landed, it was February 20th, and I didn't tell my dad, and I gave him a call, and there you go, happy birthday, Dad.
Hmm.
Yeah, that was the first phone call that I actually made to home was, hey, I mean, even though we were told, or I'm sorry, not we were, even though that we could call people back then, but I mean, this was way before the pay cards and everything, and we had to
Hmm.
stand in long lines to even get
Yeah.
a phone call out, and that was back in 2003. Nowadays, it's they got phone call centers and everything, and they can call their loved ones every day if they really wanted to. Or I don't know how often it happens, but like regardless, more often than I did. But
Yeah.
like it was just a great party. It really was. But like I said, when I ETS'd, which was so we got back February 20th, and then I ETS'd in July of 2004. Um, yeah, that's when it happened, and coming back from that, it was like, I don't know, and experiencing something like that was just, and I was kind of expecting it. I actually was surprised it didn't happen more often. It's only happened once, and
Yeah.
really, when I got back home, I really didn't talk about what happened out there and really my service at all because it kind of it bummed me out that someone like that would ever speak to someone like that, and it's just so backwards thinking. But better safe than sorry is what I say, and I just didn't say anything for a long time. So
Mm.
yeah.
Well, I can imagine. I can imagine. That would truly rock my world. Like I said, and it gives you an idea of what people live through every single day, coming back from Vietnam. I mean, that was the norm. You were the outlier. That was the norm.
Yeah.
I mean, it's amazing. It's amazing how short-sighted and cruel people were. Really naive and ignorant is the words I would use more than anything else. And you see that in youth a
Mm-hmm.
lot. I mean, you hope in time that they wake up and they understand that their fight is with the politicians, not the people that are the instruments of the politicians. But at any rate, I appreciate you sharing with that. I never knew that happened, and we can just kind of go forward with the good wishes that we see all the time now, and hopefully that'll you know alleviate some of that crap because I do believe most people are genuine. I really do. There's always a few, but
Mm-hmm.
I always assume good intent. That's kind of my personality anyway, until otherwise directed. But I can understand why it sets you off in another direction. Completely
Well, as
understand
to
it.
why, but it's cautious. It's very cautious. I mean, I'm very limited on what I share, and it's just well, especially those who are not actually never been in the military. So I mean, to a civilian, it's very limited, and I just try to avoid those hotbed topics, combat and what I've seen and out there and whatnot. It's just
Right.
yeah, but I mean for the most part, um, I try to keep my mouth shut, especially around civilians when it comes to my military service. But a veteran, whoo, give me a beer and let's talk.
There you go. Well, I think the nice thing is that you came home, you finished your education, and now you work full time for the VA, helping veterans every single day. I mean, you've done given me a lot of information over the few years that I've known you, as far as what benefits are out there and what programs exist and so forth. So, so you not only are you a combat veteran, but you've now dedicated your life to serving those who served, and so I think that says a lot about your character, Richard. It really does. You didn't let a couple of idiots at Dulles Airport, you know, spin you into a whole different reality. You just were like, okay, that's how it's going to be. But you forged on, I think, to do something that there's sacrifice in what you do. Those are the kind of jobs where you get more satisfaction out of helping others than you would in income that would allow you to move to West Palm Beach anytime soon. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, West Palm Beach, yeah, indeed, yeah. It's difficult. It's even more difficult to hear it from our fellow veterans who trash talk the VA, which is fine. It's a free country and whatnot. So I mean, but like, yeah, it's hard to see those cases. It really is. It's sometimes you just got. I mean, I can't. Sometimes I just can't read it. Read some of it and have to step away and then come back to it. But like some of the things that people actually go through are far. I mean, my case, is minimal. Whereas there are some that, especially Vietnam era, you hear all this, you read all the stories, and it's just I mean, it's true. It truly was a cruel world back then, and I mean, I'm sure there are people out there that are like that. Maybe fewer, a lot fewer, but like, I couldn't even imagine what it was like to be a veteran back in the Vietnam era. I really couldn't. I wouldn't even want to imagine it. And like I said, it's hard to see those stories, and it's just I mean, I love my job. I absolutely love my job. I'm helping veterans, and it's exactly what I want to do. And it's just, it's not something that I could have. I've had several opportunities to go elsewhere and make more money, well, a lot more money. Mm-hmm. But I don't want to. I don't want to do something where I don't feel my worth is basically what it is, and that's why I absolutely love the VA. It's just something I don't want to ever go away from, ever, because I mean, I've never felt more home than the military. So I got to help I got to help everyone else that had it worse than I did, especially had it worse than I did. So, I love what I do.
I think that sums it up perfectly, Richard. I don't think there's anything more to add to that. And we appreciate you coming on and having this conversation. Like I said, for a lot of folks, it's not easy, but I also find that a lot of people, well, they feel they have that venue to kind of talk things out. It's something that works. It's not for everybody though, but I do appreciate it. If people want to reach out to you and hear you on social media, we know you're doing more than just talking on General Quarters. What are some of the other things that you're doing out there, Richard, that people could find you, hone into, and listen to you?
Well, you guys can find me on Facebook. Typically, I'm on there, not always, but I'm also on Twitter as well. My handle is xransom. And I am also on Trek FM's network. I host the show with my co-hosts Amy Nelson and Justin Ozer, and the show is called Earl Grey. So
Earl Grey, okay. So if anybody out there is a Star Trek Next Generation fan and you want to hear some great conversations about that show and what they do, Richard's been on that now a couple of years, running as the
2.5 years, yeah.
2.5 years, yeah, as a host and an editor and or whatnot, kind of a co-founder of Version 2. Yeah. And that's how I got to know Richard is working through that network. So it's it's a really fun show. It's a great take, good people. And hey, Richard, thanks for agreeing to do this and helping me launch this thing. If there's anything that we should be putting out for veterans or whatnot, if you want to update us on any programs or things like that as this show evolves, maybe we could get some good updates that we could get out to the folks. Anything that's new and exciting out there that people could that would they could really benefit from. Let's make sure you and I stay tight on that and we get that message out as much as we can.
Absolutely. We're looking forward to it.
All right, Richard. Well, I appreciate you joining us today, and I look forward to seeing this show drop in a couple weeks. And we'll get some good reactions from that, and people can get on the General Quarters Facebook page and interact with Richard after the show drops if there's any questions or anything that you have for him. And we thank you for joining us today.